Most people will look at the surface of the sea and just see the sea. But underneath, there is totally different ecosystems, many ecosystems going on down there. And divers are very lucky to go and see that underwater world.
I feel that diving enriched my life. It gave me a joy, it gave me a satisfaction, it gave me something to push myself towards.
Diving is akin to walking in space. Same sort of feeling, weightless.
It's almost like underwater, I relax. Everything that's happening in the world just goes to the side for that hour. Jump in, or in my case, roll in off the boat, and underwater, and then you forget everything. Just relax and just float along. And then at the end of the dive, you come back up and you're back into the real world again.
I enjoy being in the water, even more so since I've had spinal surgery. So once I'm in the water, I'm weightless. I've no weight on me, so any sort of pains in my back go away. Well, my name's Steve Gibson. I started diving in the 1980s. I was just on holiday and just saw people going into the pool in Scuba and inquired about it, and I went and did a try dive. So from between 80 and 2000 I was just doing try dives when I went on holiday. In 2000 I started to learn correctly, qualified as an open water diver and qualified as an instructor in 2002. I wouldn't have met my wife if it wasn't for diving. She was on my first open water course. Me and my son went down to a dive centre and she was on the same course at the same time.
We dived together recreationally for a while. Steve actually proposed to me underwater. We're on a dive on Jackson Reef in Egypt. He produced a ring, which was an engagement ring, and he proposed to me. It was very romantic. And then we continued to dive together for a number of years, and then we opened the dive centre together.
Val and myself are qualified Handicapped Scuba Association instructors as well. So we're qualified to take in people who are paraplegic or blind or quadriplegic, so can't move at all. We went through some training over a weekend just specifically to take in disabled people. Kirsty came to us and she's paraplegic. And we got her through a course, and she's currently on a dive master course now. She's doing very well.
It's just because we don't know. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but can you manage that? Hi everybody. Hello, how are you? Not bad, thanks yourself. Hi Charlie.
Right.
Sorry we're late. The weather. Hey Dave.
So, how are you, my darling?
Not bad, thanks yourself.
Right. Good journey down?
What you've got to do is just get
Wet.
BCDs and stuff.
Wet, journey down.
Yeah, it looks like it must have been a bit. It's hot.
I'm Kirsty Jones. I'm 45 and I became paraplegic when I was 30. And friends of mine started diving and they gave me a try dive for my birthday, for my 40th birthday. So I did a try dive, absolutely loved it. Oh, thank you. Cheers, gave me a star. Thank you.
What I'm going to do is just
I see not going to the
joint pass.
No, sorry. Why?
I was bitten by a spider when I was overseas and it triggered a virus which they think affected the spinal cord. I've always loved water sports and I missed the water. My first time back in the water post-injury was in 2007. So that was 3 years post-injury, nearly 4. And it was in a swimming pool. And I remember I was hoisted in and I couldn't feel the bottom. It was only a small pool, but I couldn't feel the bottom. And at first that was quite scary. Trying to swim with your arms only, not being able to work out how deep the pool is, not knowing if I was dragging my legs across the bottom of the pool. What actually happens is my legs tend to float. So I ended up bent like a banana backwards because I was keeping my head above water and my legs were floating up behind me. That was interesting. I'll never forget the feeling. But once I'd been in 5 minutes, it was fine. It was just time to start front crawl, swimming up and down the pool. As a paraplegic, you're carrying your weight with you wherever you go. You're always fighting against your legs and you're fighting against carrying the body. Whereas underwater, completely free. There's no pressure on your body. You're just floating and it's just freedom, basically. It's complete freedom. I dive with many people. They all know about the injury. They all know that, for example, in an emergency, tapping my legs will not work. They will have to pull my legs. And they're aware also of the difficulties getting in and out the water. Once I'm in, I'm like any other diver. But getting in and getting out is the bit that takes a bit of thought. I've been involved in one incident where a diver was taken ill during a dive, and since that date I've always been very mindful of my body, my own health, which is why I'm not diving today, because I have chest infection. So for me to go diving, yes, I might manage, but I would put people at risk. If I had difficulties underwater, they would have to come to help me. Instead of focusing on students or focusing on their buddies, then we have to be aware of that. I've had a couple of dives early on where there was a lot of current underwater, and it meant it was fighting against the current to dive. And the first time it happened, it was a bit worrying, and you're trying to keep calm, trying to keep your breathing regular, relax, and just once I realised that to stop fighting the water and go with it, it was fine.
Because if you're heavy and you try to swim, it will be really hard. Okay? So let me get you neutral. Okay? So just think what you're doing. I'm just getting you, so when I bounce you, you're really light. So as we kick off, we'll more or less float as well.
Diving is a risk sport, but it's very much a minimised risk sport. We sort of push quite a lot with the children. It produces a sense of responsibility in the children, because they're not only responsible for themselves, they're also responsible for who is with them, their buddy. On a dive, they've got to be able to look after their buddy as well. So it does breed a higher level of responsibility in children.
Hey Rich, get your reg in. Get your reg in your mouth. That's why you get your reg in case you fall. Right, turn around, forwards. Come on, lift your foot up, lift your foot up. Right. Step forward so you close over the edge. Remember, hand on your reg and your mask, Rich. Good. Up go. Right, further forward. Feel the cage and everything closed? Yeah. Look forward. Big step out.
Well done.
Alright?
Yeah. Good lad.
Okay. Good fight.
And of course they can move up through the ranks and possibly even follow a career path, going into commercial diving or in fact teaching.
He's 13, he's been diving for 6-7 months. He's more focused now. He's looking into, obviously because he's only 13, but he's looking into careers and things, and he wants to do this as an adult. He's looking into going in the Navy and diving in the Navy, and yeah, it's totally changed everything he thinks about, really.
What this is a log of what's happened today, and what we're looking at is we record the people what level they're at. We record what they're doing, whether it's being a student or whether it's a DM or an open water instructor.
There's nothing wrong with it. I was going to have a dunk in.
Bring all your kit down here.
Right there.
Bring everything right down the edge. I'll get your cylinder, you bring the rest down while you've got in your arms. Put it on the side.
You don't need tins, mate. No.
Alright?
That little bit extra weight.
What's all that? You've got
Some green giant.
Feed the fish.
feed the fish, but
That's directly to swimming.
You have it on the back there.
My name's David. I'm one of the trainee rescue divers at Sunderland Scuba Centre. Whenever I've been on holiday abroad, I've been going in the sea just for a snorkel. I always enjoyed it. And obviously he's an instructor and it was a case of, do you want to see what it's like a little bit further down? Have a look. There's more to just being on the surface type thing. So yeah, okay. I did my open water course. I started it in August last year. From then I did my open water, finished that in the November. Had a month off from being in a car crash. Since then I've done me advanced open water and I've did me deep, so I can go to 40 metres.
Side entry.
Hey?
Are you side entry?
I am.
Now, my motorbike barely gets used. Every spare minute I've got, whether I'm not at work. I want to be diving. I want to having a look around a wreck, having a look around, seeing the wildlife, that kind of thing. Yeah. So one of the instructors at Sunderland Scuba happens to be my uncle. Had a bit of a chat at my brother's wedding. He said, "Do you want to give it a go?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?"
I thought you might have had your wetsuit on the daylight, Ben.
Huh?
I thought you might have had your wetsuit on.
That thought crossed me mind, like.
I thought it was semi-dry. It's warm enough for daylight. It's like toasted here.
that last step, it's a doozy.
Step under the breeze block, as I said.
Yeah.
I'll pull you down.
Oh, that's so much nicer.
Yeah.
Duck down and
I have never felt this hot in a suit before.
We're going gloveless.
Hey?
Going gloveless.
Yeah, yeah.
Thoughts crossed me mind actually, like now I'm pretty warm.
I'm thinking about hoodless at the minute. I just know it usually gets, like as you go down it gets a bit deeper.
Yeah.
It's not deeper. It gets a bit cooler.
What's the temperature at?
Eh?
Temperature?
I don't know yet.
No, we did 31 metres yesterday.
Yeah, no?
I thought it was 33.
You thought a lot of things.
Rosie.
Oh, that was needed, yeah.
You not remember, Dave? Have a little look at the boat. Might get lucky, you'd see the pike. There's a big pike in there. It's big. Don't put your finger in it. Don't poke the pike. Don't poke the pike. They've got lots of. They've got lots of teeth. Yeah. It's got more right to be there than us. And it's faster. And much more nasty. But they're very pretty. When you see them in the natural environment, they're very pretty. When you see a green pike in a green water with green weed and everything else, you understand why they're such a good ambush predator. It's honestly, they're so like camouflage.
You won't see it, will you?
Oh, you'll see it, but like if you're
You'll know about it if you see it.
if you're a little fish, you wouldn't see it. You just see the inside of its stomach.
They're better when you got a hook in the mouth.
Yeah, no, I did a hook them, man.
Right.
Hooky cookie. Eh?
That's a great idea. Well, gloves.
Kevin Cookie.
Cookie.
I'm with you.
Never mind a disaster, but I'm here.
Here comes the man, eh?
I'm with you.
Yeah. Alright. So once we're laid off, get with your buddy. Alright? And we'll all meet on the platform, okay?
Located, buddy. Yep.
Eh? Yeah, you with Kev?
Yeah.
You two together?
Here was up, Kev.
All right. Okay, how do you go?
Kev followed you.
You would have more time for children, you'd have more time for people learning how to dive, more patience. If you're passionate about diving, then you want these people to be able to dive. So taking our time with them is quite nice now. Whereas prior to diving in the motor trade, it was a very stressful job and patience wasn't in abundance there. Things had to be done very, very quickly and on time. But some people are nervous when they're doing their first dives, and obviously we have to take responsibility for them. So we'll look after them in the water as well as show them what they can see underwater as well. Diving is still predominantly a male sport. Started probably in the 40s, 50s, 60s when Navy divers would leave the force and they would continue diving. So there was only them diving. There was very few women diving for the Royal Navy or for the US Navy. Over the next 3 or 4 decades, slowly more and more women have crept into this sport.
A woman's nature not to explore as much as a man will. A man traditionally has always been able to push himself that bit further and go and explore, whereas a woman maybe as the maternal instinct kicks in. But once women start diving, we find that female divers, they seem to stick at it. Once they've experienced it and they've realised that it's not as dangerous as it's made out, you don't actually feel the weight of the kit when you're in your water. And more holidays are becoming accessible now where women can go and dive. Exciting. It's an exciting sport. Yeah, it's an honour. It encompasses everything for me. It encompasses family. Your dive friends become family. Trust is a massive part of diving. So you've got trust, you've got respect for your fellow divers, their opinions. If they don't want to do something, then you don't push them. Respect the land, respect the sea, respect the ocean. So all the traditional values that I like to hold, I find diving has.
So in the open water, you've got no current or anything. It's just nice and fresh and still. Whereas in the sea, you need extra weight because the salty water makes you more buoyant. So you've got to put more weight on in the sea. You've got tides to consider. You've got the current. Sea diving is just a totally different ballgame. I think maybe I did about 20 dives prior to doing my first sea dive. And on my first sea dive, I was very, very nervous.
And then
We're this on the right side.
on the inside.
So David, where? So for Shane's benefit as well. So Parliament's got the boat, right? Hydraulic lift, the same as St. Abs. We jump off in pairs. There's not much tide or current. We jump off probably one after the other. Down the shot line, right? Stay upright. Remember, put your line in. Keep up his hand there.
Don't hold it.
Mind any trailing lines that come off, right? If they do get wrapped around you, stop.
I'll save you.
Yeah? Stop, and then just want to sort it out. Right? Don't fight it. Whatever. Drop down. Not very deep. You also high tide at 3, 6 now. It's halfway out. 12 metres. 12 metres. It's nice at the dive. It's big. It was a passenger liner. Came in here at mine. Towed it back out and sank. Less than a year later, another boat mistook the buoys. Mistook the buoys that were at a buoy for safe passage. It was called the Chandras, and the Chandras hit it. So it's one like that, the other one's like that, but now they're both like that, and they're indistinguishable. You can't tell one from the other. You can tell the dance floor if you can find the dance floor. It's a black and white checkerboard. Right?
My first sea dive was with my buddy, was a guy called Kevin Cook, and he looked after us. Absolute hero. Great. Got out of the water with a smile on my face.
Right? And still thousands and thousands down there, and every summer, every winter, like booze and more get found in traps. Yeah, so you can get grab handfuls of them coming in pocket.
That's quite calm, this water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite calm and quite cold and dark and.
My name's Anthony Greenwell. No stress when you go diving. Like obviously you got to adhere to all the rules and the safety, but diving's my getaway. You forget about everything else. No social media, no mobile phones, nothing. Just go underwater, just concentrate on breathing in and out, nice as calm as you can, and just enjoy it and just seeing that part of the world what not many people get to go to, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I know.
Will,
Yes.
when you get to the bar, you see the rope.
Your mask, sorry, your mask, man.
Just floating on itself. It's just
You can't really describe. If you want to do it, just do it. It's out of this world. You look like you look under the water and you go, yes, looks alright. And then when you get in the water and you start going down, it's just nice and peaceful and quiet, and you just look around and like, wow, what's this? What's that? What's that? I wonder what's under that rock. I wonder what's behind there. Wow, there's a wreck. It's just amazing.
Takes you to another part of the world where not many people go, and it's just so relaxing, and the stuff you can see and do, it's just fantastic.
No!
No! Are you going with them then?
Or you? I'll get it first.
All the shit in, alright?
Yeah.
Good to go.
Yeah, good there.
Oh, sure, you alright, Brad?
With a quick one.
There's us.
Yeah. Don't cut your way in there.
Yeah. Got ducks as well. You'll be able to ducks as well. Right, let's go. How hard it is. If it's sandy, it's yellow. If it's rocky, it's red. And then this is more of the wreck, you see. Well, they'll either come up that red, see the line that went down? They'll either come up that and I'll pick them up, or they put an SMB up. Do you know what that is? It's like a sausage float they put air in on the line, and it comes up on the surface. And then we pick them up with that lift there.
In the North Sea, the grey seals, which are predominantly around this area, also up and down this coast, condition that the seals get, called seal pox, and it's only in this area that they seem to find that. We recently, or in the last couple of years, we joined what's called BDMLR, which is British Divers Marine Life Rescue. And this is a group of volunteers throughout the UK who have undertook training to help any cetaceans, so whale strandings, dolphins, porpoises, and also seals. When they're born, they only stay with their mother for a couple of weeks. After that, the mother has nothing more to do with them. So you have these very small pups going into the sea, and the sea is rough, and it can get quite rough in the North Sea, and they do get hit off the rocks, and this can cause damage to the fins, to the flippers. We regularly get call-outs from BDLMR to attend to have a look at seals. If they are injured or they do need attention, then we will catch them and take them to veterinary surgeons or to rehab centres. After the rehab, we get to re-release them, which is quite nice. When I started diving, the coral reefs, especially in the Red Sea, were a lot more lush, shall I say, than they are now. And the effect of lots of day boats with divers and snorkelers has had an effect on that, unfortunately. There's quite a bit of rubbish on the reefs, and new divers tend to hit the reefs with the fins, and this causes damage. As you move further down south in the Red Sea, where not so many divers go, then the coral reefs are a lot more healthy. So really, I think there needs to be some sort of monitoring of how many divers are allowed to go onto a particular reef in a day or a week.
Some divers are prone to not looking after their buoyancy or respecting, the underwater world. It's the same in any sport, any walk of life. In fact, you have people that will drop litter on the land. You'll have people that drop litter at sea. For me, I prefer to dive with people that respect the underwater world. So we don't touch coral, we don't go near coral. We'll look from a distance, but we won't ever go right up to coral or touch it, because it's taken sometimes decades to grow, but 2 minutes to destroy. So I understand where people are coming from, because there are some divers that don't. Maybe they're looking just for spear fishing or for lobsters or whatever. Whereas the people I like diving with, we like looking at the world underwater as a world. So it's something to be admired, respected, and treasured, because it can be destroyed in one day.
We will see the sharks in the water, and we'll go into the water with them. If you give them the respect they're due to, then you shouldn't have too much of a problem. Sometimes they're curious, but most times they're more frightened of you than you are of them.
I think more people need to see underwater, because we can see the differences our lives are having on the world as a planet. But we can also enjoy, 70% of this planet is underwater, and probably 80% of us never see it. So to me, it's an honour to dive. It's an honour to be underwater and see everything.